Thanks for clicking! Tens of thousands of Canadians have signed up for the First Home Savings Account in an attempt to speed their way into the real estate market. This according to new data released by RBC. The accounts, which allow first-time homebuyers to save for a down payment in much the same manner as they save for retirement, have been available since April, though the majority of the banks were not ready for implementation at their outset.
You're serious.
For her part, Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland touted the accounts at a press conference on Friday.
First Home Savings Account, which has been available since April and actually has had very, very strong pickup.
Yet it's not clear that the accounts, while helpful, will make the housing market any more affordable, with Global News finding that it could actually push prices upward. So what I want to do today is go over the First Home Savings Account, taking a look at how much help it could potentially offer the average homebuyer, then discuss which banks have it available and how it's being implemented, and then go over some potential problems for the housing market. Speaking of the real estate market, Canada's inflation data for July is set to be released tomorrow, which will no doubt have a big impact on the Bank of Canada's rate decision coming up in September. We'll obviously have an update out on that data on this channel. Click like and subscribe if you want to get those updates, but for now, let's get into these accounts. Very briefly, as we've discussed these accounts before on this channel, the First Home Savings Accounts, the FHSAs, allow first-time homebuyers to save up to $8,000 per year, tax-free, up to a maximum of $40,000 to put towards a down payment. As to how much help that would actually provide the average Canadian, let's take a look at Ontario's average income of $55,500. According to Wealthsimple, the average earner would owe $12,160 on that income in 2023. However, if we deduct the potential $8,000 that was saved, as unlikely as that is with rent, food, and gas prices, the average income now would owe $10,090. So, this would allow the average income earner to save an additional $10,000 over the 5 years, over the life of the $40,000 maximum, plus whatever investment income that they earned as well.
Thank you for thinking of us, old friends.
So, while the FHSA is definitely not a game changer, it does allow first-time homebuyers to save an additional $10,000, give or take, to put towards their down payment. And recent data does show that the program is gaining in popularity, with RBC announcing phenomenal early uptake, with more than 1/4 of all FHSA accounts maxing out right away. And the uptake in account holders seen at RBC is unsurprising, given that RBC and National Bank are still the only banks that have the accounts available. However, while the accounts will no doubt help first-time homebuyers save a little bit more for a down payment, it's not clear, as of yet, that the accounts won't hurt housing affordability long-term. Doug Porter, chief economist at the Bank of Montreal, a bank that still doesn't have the FHSA account available, says that the accounts will ultimately drive up demand.
These kind of demand supportive measures really don't end up helping affordability because they just put further upward pressure on home prices.
Which is definitely a good point. You could give every single Canadian $100,000 for a down payment for a home, and housing wouldn't be any more affordable. If everyone gets money for widgets and there's no increase in the amount of widgets available, then the price of the available widgets is going to increase.
What?
And Finance Minister Freeland even acknowledged that the FHSA is not going to fix affordability, and that the problem, according to Freeland, is housing supply.
Big challenge, the core challenge is just the math of Canada's population, Canada's housing stock. We do need to build more homes for a growing country.
You're just figuring that out?
And this point, that the key to restoring housing affordability is to build more houses, was echoed by Immigration Minister Mark Miller on Friday, when he said that Canada absolutely can't build more houses without more immigrants. However, regardless of where you sit in the debate over Canada's supply issues, as the issue has obviously been used ad nauseum to mask pleas for free money and foment FOMO, the debate is currently masking the real problem facing the government. Mainly, how do you make housing more affordable without crushing prices? This is both a political and a financial problem for the Government of Canada. According to Elections Canada, higher income people are more likely to vote. Higher income people, all things being equal, are more likely to own their homes. So, on a political level, making homes more affordable, which would also include reducing the value of the current housing stock, is definitely politically untenable. And this was actually articulated by our new housing minister, Sean Fraser, who said that the government has no interest in decreasing the values of the homes of current homeowners.
That's a relief.
But it's not only political. As we've talked about before on this channel, there's a financial side to this as well. Canadians are currently holding $1.93 trillion in mortgage debt, of which the government is either directly or indirectly responsible for $566 billion. Were all of those homes, all of those assets which are backing those mortgages to suddenly lose their value and then people couldn't pay, the government is on the hook. The government has guaranteed those loans. And that's not even to mention the problems that would come to the banks. And were all of this to come to fruition, if the value of Canada's housing stock all of a sudden became affordable, if all of those assets lost, say, 20, 30, 40% of their value,
I'll go bankrupt.
This would obviously put the government in a precarious financial position. So, in summary, the First Home Savings Account, while helpful and gaining in popularity, and rightfully so, is definitely not a game changer. But, as we can see, both politically and financially, and from what the government has even said, they're not looking for a game changer. Speaking of game changers, Canada's inflation data is set to be released tomorrow, which will obviously have a big impact on the Bank of Canada's September decision, which will feed through the housing market. We'll obviously have an update out on that data on this channel. Click like and subscribe if you want to get those updates. But for now, thanks so much for watching.